Namaste, beautiful YouTube family. I bow to the love and the light in you. Lisa Romano here, the Breakthrough Life Coach. And I've been asked to do a video, which I think is really cool, about codependency and anger. And I've been asked to address my thoughts about, what it is, why is it that codependence can get triggered so easily, and what we can do about it when we actually do get triggered. So I have found in my own life that when I was at my angriest, and I was very angry for a long time, when I broke it down, I realized that my anger was tied to this need to feel seen and this need to feel validated, and not being able to achieve that validation. And no matter how hard I tried to feel seen, although I was unconscious, I didn't realize that I wanted to feel seen. No matter how hard I tried to get that need to feel psychologically seen by others, it was always exhausted. And there were times in my life where it was hard for me to admit that it was hard for me to admit that I was angry. When you come from a dysfunctional home, in most cases, you're not allowed to feel anything. You're expected to walk around like a zombie, and yet human beings, what separates a human being from a robot is the fact that we have an emotional body. But when you come from a dysfunctional home, it's like you're expected to navigate life without having emotions. Our parents very oftentimes are self-absorbed. And our parents are oftentimes the only people in our lives that are allowed to give off any emotion or express any emotion at all. So oftentimes we have parents who are very, very angry, and they have no issues, yelling at the neighbor or yelling at us or making fun of us or yelling at the letter carrier or whatever. But when we try to express our anger perhaps towards a sibling, or when we try to express anger towards them, we're shut down, we're made fun of. It's very confusing when you come from a dysfunctional home, because you might say something that is very well intended and then be made fun of because you said that, and then when you cry when they make fun of you, then you're called a baby, or then you're called a drama queen, or then you're told that you're too sensitive. So it's very topsy-turvy when you come from a dysfunctional home. Now, and you're a child, you don't know how to feel. You don't know what's the right thing to do. And you try so hard to figure out what the right thing to do is, because you seek this deep-seated need to feel seen. So that's where it stems from. Deeper than that, I believe that codependents suffer from an attachment trauma. When you are born to people who cannot see you, they cannot naturally bond to you. And when you don't feel bonded to, you suffer an attachment trauma. And it's natural and innate to want to bond with other people. We are social creatures. We are born with mirror neurons. We're supposed to be bonded to other people. And what I believe, that when that bond is frustrated, we never stop seeking that attachment. That's where codependency comes from. Lots of us suffer from love addiction. And as love addicts, we're trying anything that we can think of to try to gain that bond. And it can become like an addictive process. I know when I was a love addict, and that moment hit me where I realized that, oh my God, this is an addiction. I crave this person. It was a lightning bolt moment for me, and I understood that was not love. That craving someone was not love. And then I also realized eventually that as an unrecovered codependent, I craved validation like a drug addict craves a drug. I craved it. And so when people didn't agree with me or they didn't validate me, I felt very, very wounded. And it was very easy for me to spiral down the rabbit hole. So for any of you who are struggling with being codependent and having all this anger show up for you, that's actually a good thing, that you're actually aware that you're angry. Codependents have a very difficult time identifying how they feel. And most oftentimes, anger is a feeling that we can actually acknowledge because it's so familiar and it makes us feel grounded. And I think it also blankets all our other feelings, the feelings that we weren't allowed to feel, like depressed or disappointed or bewildered or sad, or unhappy or dissatisfied. We weren't permitted to express those feelings. And so, you know, we have them, they're all stored in our body viscerally, but because we weren't allowed to express them, in my opinion, you know, we're angry. We're angry because we're not allowed to, or our brain doesn't think that we're allowed to express ourselves. And so we are angry because we're not living our truth. We're living, you know, this toned down version of who we really are, and we don't even know why. We don't even know that we're living these toned down versions of ourselves because on a visceral level, we're seeking validation. So my suggestion for anyone out there that is still struggling with the anger and codependency and coming face to face with what it means to be angry and not liking it, right? The first thing that you have to do is learn to be non-resistant to the fact that you are in fact angry. It's normal to be angry and to be codependent. It makes sense. You've been seeking validation in all the wrong places. You've attracted probably not the nicest people into your life, and you've probably been abused. You're probably very frustrated, don't understand why people don't get you, don't understand you, and why people just can't be nice to you. So it makes sense that you're angry. So don't judge yourself for being angry. I say nudge the judge. Just push the nudge off the nudge the judge off the shelf. So remember, and don't ever forget, that you must accept how you feel. Even if what you feel is crap, you have to learn to stop not allowing yourself to flow the energy that needs to flow in your body. That doesn't mean you go out and you kick the cat and you kick the dog and you beat up your kids and you beat up your husband. That's not what I mean. When I say accept your anger, take a moment to just stop and think, wow, I'm angry. I'm angry. I can feel that anger. And I'm angry because, and I have a right to be angry. I'm angry because of this, and I'm angry because of that. And you honor the divine child. You honor yourself when you feel angry. And then what you have to do is you have to ask yourself a couple of questions. What can I do about it? And how do I ultimately want to feel? For me, I ultimately want to stay in a constant state of flow. And being angry prevents me from staying in a state of flow. That doesn't mean I don't have a right to be angry. But when I deny myself the right to be angry, when I go against my anger, when I am angry that I am angry, it's sort of like I interrupt the flow that I am. And suddenly when I say to myself, it's okay to be angry, you have a right to be angry. Anybody would be angry. You know, your mother said this, or your father said that, or your sister said this, or your brother did that. You know, your husband said this, the dogs did that, you know, whatever. It's okay to be angry. Even though you're angry, you're flowing because you're accepting that you're angry. So try to get into the flow. Try to, if you're discovering that you're angry, see if you are angry that you're angry, and try not to poo-poo the idea that you're angry. Try not to be angry that you're angry. Just allow yourself to be angry. I really hope I'm making that point. The goal is to stay in the flow. So people who are angry, they are angry that they're angry, end up with all sorts of chronic diseases. They end up with headaches. They end up fighting with other people. And it all goes back to really not being able to accept that you're angry. So you don't want to judge yourself that you're angry. So just let it be. I'm angry. I'm angry. This triggered me, and so now I'm angry. And that's okay. And then tell yourself that it's okay to feel whatever it is you feel. Remember, there's a little child in you that was probably taught that it wasn't okay to feel what you feel. So learn to be self-soothing. Learn to be self-compassionate. It's okay that I'm angry. I have a right to be angry. Somebody in my 12-week program, the current 12-week program, wrote a beautiful post about having this experience and how while she was in the shower, she just kept telling herself over and over, it's okay that I'm angry. It's okay that I'm sad. It's okay that I'm disappointed. And she had a breakthrough, you know, and she started to cry, and she could actually see herself comforting the little child inside of her who always felt guilty for being angry, who felt ashamed for being angry. So that's a great tool that you can use. The other thing that I want you to do is to understand that you have a right to feel what you feel, but so do other people. And other people sometimes don't realize what you need and that you're seeking validation. They should, some people should, you know, especially our parents, it should come natural, but some people really don't know what we're looking for. And when we end up having conversations with people and we're angry and we end up being more forceful perhaps than we need to be, or we shut down when we don't need to, or we think we need to, then the other person really doesn't understand that our need for validation is coming from a very soft and wounded place. So I would suggest that, and I do believe this is what happens, the more you accept that you're angry and you self-soothe and you give yourself the right to be angry, then what happens is you center yourself, and then you're more able to come to someone and say, this is actually what I was looking for. You know, when I told you about my past and you said what you said and you hurt me, you know, that hurt, and I felt devastated, and you know, that's why I was crying, or that's why I couldn't talk to you, because it hurt very much when you said that. That is showing up authentically. That is showing up non-judgmental of the other person and non-critical of the other person. You're basically just stating a fact. I had this wound. I shared it with you. You made fun of me because I shared it with you, and I was wounded by that. And that type of conversation can come only after you've learned to soothe yourself and you've learned to accept that you're angry. The other thing I'd like you to do is to see in yourself if, when you had a conversation, you were seeking the other person's validation. And see if, when you're having conversations, are you having fair conversations? Meaning, a fair conversation is that you're going to accept what the other person has to say. Doesn't mean you have to like it. But are you showing up expecting that person to say what you want them to say because you need to feel better? And that's hard. I used to do that, you know, and when I came to that realization, it was like a sledgehammer to my head, you know, like, oh my God, you know, I just had that conversation with that person, and I went in expecting that person to agree with me wholeheartedly. And when that person did not agree with me, I was pissed, you know. And being able to have that type of ability to look at the self is not easy, because it means that you have to let go of thinking everybody has to agree with you. And so if you are angry, accept that you're angry. Stop judging yourself because you're angry. Understand that you have a right to be angry. Understand that there are true traumas that have led to this dysfunctional beliefs that you have, perhaps, that cause you to believe that other people absolutely have to agree with you. If you're seeking validation, know that that if you were in a healthy relationship, that the people that say they love you would validate you, even if they didn't agree with you. They would say, oh, I can see why you feel that way. Oh, I can see why you would say that. I understand where you're coming from. You know, we also have to understand that other people can never, ever, ever hold the same perception we have of what's happening in the outer world, because we're all unique and we all come from our own unique perspective. So I say, the higher you fly on this path towards discovery, the less attached you will be to ideas and beliefs that are really keeping you stuck. So if you believe that you don't have a right to be angry, you're going to stay stuck. If you believe that you should be angry that you're angry, you're going to stay stuck. If you believe that you need other people's validation to be happy, you're going to be stuck. If you get angry when other people don't agree with you or can't validate you, you're going to be stuck. So I would really, really hope that this video has helped shed some light on codependency and anger. And I hope that perhaps you're not even so angry right now, and you may even be a little bit more lighthearted. Dear ones, it's up to us to change this programming. And you know, it's not our fault that we have some faulty ideas rolling around in our head and faulty beliefs, but only we can change them. Only we can change them. And the key is to be self-observing and non-attached. That is the key. So I hope this has helped you. Namaste, everybody. Bye.